Awesome. Recording has started. Hi, Elaine.
Hi,
Thanks so much
Nico.
for chatting. Can you just give everyone a little bit about who you are and what your background in Ayurveda is?
Sure. My name is Elaine Dahl, and I own and operate Blissful Ayurveda in Bozeman, Montana. And I've been doing this now for, I want to say 15 years. And I offer consultations where we talk about diet and lifestyle. And then I also offer body therapies, which are all through the lens of Ayurveda, which Ayurveda is the science or the knowledge of life. And so it's this huge umbrella of all these different approaches to help us find homeostasis or better health and wellness. And our goal in life is optimal health and peace of mind. And I feel like Ayurveda has an amazing ability to help us get to those places. And it's not quick necessarily, but I usually work with people for 6 to 12 months to help them find greater balance. But some people, I'm their main doctor, and other people I only meet once and I never see again.
Thank you. For people who have no idea what Ayurveda is, and I know you just said it's the science of life, but can you talk a little bit more about what Ayurveda is, what it might look like to come to you, and how you're going to take this huge umbrella of the science of life and bring it in just to a little bit of a 200-hour yoga teacher training?
Yes.
That was kind of a lot.
Yeah, great question though, because we need to pare it down. And what I find is the way that I will approach any person that comes to me is a 2-hour intake where you fill out paperwork. And then we do some diagnostic tools where I look at your tongue and I take your pulse and I look at your body structure. And then we answer a bunch of questions. And in that, we come up with a baseline. And Ayurveda looks at each individual through a lens of doshas. And doshas are different body types. And there are 3 different doshas. One is vata, then there's pitta, and kapha is the third. And these doshas are an ability to break into like how our tendencies are. And so vata is cold and light and dry. And this is the season for vata, the fall. So the reason around looking at it through that lens is because it doesn't have to be rocket science. We can look at simple tools to help counteract that cold and light and dry, like warm foods or hot drinks. So the thing about Ayurveda that's so great is it's not super hard. It's just consistency is really key in helping change happen. And with pittas, pitta is fire with a little bit of water. And a lot of us in this day and age, we run really strong pitta. And that's us getting out into the world and making our lives happen and having babies and getting married and having businesses and all of that. And we can tend to run towards burnout with pittas. So we need to bring back in a little bit of water usually to kind of temper the fire of pitta. And then kapha is earth and water. And kapha is heavier and harder to mobilize. But once somebody who is a kapha gets an idea and is really like caught on to that idea, it's like a boulder rolling down the hill and you better get out of the way because that is just the direction of travel that's going to happen. And it's hard to say exactly, what each person is straight out the gate. That's why that 2-hour intake is an important piece to figure out. But almost everybody has very noticeable tendencies in their life and their lifestyle that we can point to and say, maybe if you go to bed a little earlier, you're not going to have these super dark circles under your eyes because of the way that overnight our pitta comes in and re-knits our body. So it goes in and works with our organs if we're sleeping at the right time at night. Or, but the thing about a lot of the world is like, you should do it this way, hard and fast rules. And Ayurveda doesn't really have those for every single person. It has ideas of ways to bring things into your lifestyle so you can slot it in that where you're already doing things. So I recommend to almost everybody that they scrape their tongue with a tongue scraper. Well, almost everybody, I think, brushes their teeth. So you can bring that in when you're already doing the teeth brushing so that it's not an overwhelming amount of stuff that I recommend. And usually I recommend 4 or 5 things to start. It's not like, here's a 3-month program and I'll see you at the end of that, because I never see anybody at the end of a program like that because it's overwhelming. So if we can do it slowly and add things in a bite-sized chunks, it tends to people feel like they have success and they keep doing it.
I love that. I love how you talked about how it's different for everyone and that there's like kind of like an overarching science behind it all, especially because that's kind of how yoga is too, right? Like it's not going to look the same for every single person, which leads me to my next question of people call Ayurveda the sister science of yoga. Could you talk a little bit about that and how you think they complement each other?
Yes. Yoga and Ayurveda grew up together in India thousands of years ago. And Ayurveda and yoga work together in helping the body, mind, and spirit reach samadhi or enlightenment. And so yoga works more with helping people craft the foundation for that spiritual journey. And Ayurveda keeps the body working optimally so that it can do the yoga and it can sleep through the night and it can digest the food so that you don't have to focus so much on that while you're attaining your yoga practice, which the ultimate end of yoga practice is samadhi or enlightenment. Does that answer? Is that a good one?
I loved that. Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else you'd like to share about what you will be contributing to the 200-hour yoga teacher training?
Yeah, so I'm going to just go to the basics because it is thousands of years old. And so it can feel overwhelming and it's a different language. It's all in Sanskrit, just like yoga is. But we've chosen words that can describe the Sanskrit. So a lot of people can easily learn what the yoga terms are. And in Ayurveda, some of these terms like Virechana or other kinds of pancha karmas or cleansing stuff, like it's harder to recognize what those words really mean. And so I'm going to talk in the language of the layman of all of us and bring in the a little bit of that Sanskrit, but really like how is this for each of us a potent reason to keep focusing on how we're aging. And my whole soapbox is aging well instead of the whole anti-aging movement, which we're biological creatures. Nobody gets out alive. We have to age. So how do we do it well? And I believe Ayurveda is the key, and yoga, both together, are the keys to helping us do that in a way that is graceful and you feel like you're doing really well until your last breath, instead of you're sort of just waiting to die, which is what we hear a lot in the world. Oh, it sucks to get old. It's so hard. And I'm getting older, but I still feel really good in my body and my mind and spirit or energetically. And so that's what I'm going to bring in. And there's a lot of layers of what that can look like. We're going to look at each other's tongue probably together. We're going to talk about the doshas and what that could look like for each person, but through a general tendency, because 4 hours is a tiny little chunk of time in the scheme of thousands of years of information. So hopefully it'll be fun and interactive, and yeah, we'll see.
Awesome. Well, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for sharing and meeting with me. And we had so much fun learning from you last year, so I'm really excited to do it again.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me back. I'm really
Yeah, of
looking forward
course.
to it.
Well, thanks,
Yay.
Elaine. I'll see you in the 200 hour.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye.